Hello, and welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host Mike, and with me is Chris.
Hello.
Today we are reviewing Holi.
Holy.
I think we said that right. If we
Yeah.
didn't, I'm sorry. But let's get into it. All right. Well, as usual, Chris, why don't you give us an overview?
Okay. So again, this game is called Holy, and they give you a little in parentheses how you say it. So it's Hoelee. So that's how the game is pronounced. Holy. Here's an overview. Every spring, celebrants gather to spread color and cheer during one of India's most vibrant festivals. With your friends, move around the festival grounds, throwing colored gulal powder into each other and the crowd. Aim higher and let your color fall from above, as many people as you can. For Holi is a time for playful mischief and a little friendly rivalry, is just what the festival calls for. The objective. In Holi, players gain joy as points by throwing color on the boards. Higher levels are worth more points, getting color on others, and from collecting sweets. The player with the most uh, points after each player can no longer throw color wins the game. So there we go. There's that's how you play and what Holy's all about.
As you can see, this game is very colorful. It's very beautiful. That's what kind of drew us to originally. I saw this game at Gen Con. You may have seen if you watched our Gen Con video. You may have seen us going and looking at this game.
And this is what drew us. I mean, the box art is just absolutely beautiful. It's very very colorful.
It the shininess, and then people were seemed to having a lot of fun playing the demo, and we just had to come up and get it. So the first thing we're going to talk about, as always, is kind of how hard the game is to learn. You know, if you're first getting out of the box, reading through the rules and going through it, the rules aren't very long in the game, which is nice. But Chris, what would you say this game is on a scale of one to
Oh,
five?
it's definitely a two. You once you get the board set up and everything's ready to go, and you read the instructions or the rule book, um, the first couple of turns you're trying to figure out how to apply the card the card to the board and how you put your pieces on the board. But I'd say after maybe second round, maybe even third round, you pretty much got it. You pretty much figured out how to apply the card to the board. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, it's very simple. There's not a whole lot of rules. I think there's like three things we'll get to in the mechanics section, but I mean, it, it didn't take us long at all, and we played the first time we played this game pretty late at night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and usually for us, that means the game's gonna take twice as long, but
Yeah.
it didn't for this one.
Nope.
So I definitely agree with the 2 on this one.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is the aesthetics and build quality. So, Mike, what score would you give that for this game?
Well, there is like Lizard Wizard, there is 2 versions of this game. There is the standard version that comes with cardboard pieces. These little color tokens these are wood because this is the deluxe version, but it comes with just cardboard cutouts. The deluxe version comes with these nice little player trays. We'll give you a zoom up of now. The standard version doesn't come with that, and it also comes with additional resin pieces, like the base wood ones that come in the base game, which we'll get to in a sec. We gave this board game overall a for the standard version of 3, and for the deluxe version of 3.5. There's some reasons behind that. What we don't understand in the deluxe version is this is the piece that comes in the standard version. It is colored, it's wood, it's very thick, it's very big, fits on the board very nicely.
And we'll give you a close up of those pieces.
And this is the piece that comes in the deluxe version. Yeah, it's resin. It's kind of an idle. It looks more of like an idle shape, but it's not colored. It doesn't look as good to us. A big thing that worries us is this board. These sheets are plastic, but this is just thick cardboard. You see how here? wiggly it is. We kind of wish that those were plastic
Yeah.
because I can tell you right now, I put this together 3 times so far. Every time I'm worried I'm going to break it. Now, that that being said, the game is very beautiful, it's very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
I very much love it. I love these little player trays. You have all your stuff separated nicely. Your deck for your personal stuff is here. It's amazing. There's a nice little insert in the box to put
There
everything
is.
else in.
Yep.
Um, it's a very, very nice game, but this really, really worries me. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm the kind of the same way. I don't know. Maybe the cost for uh, the upgraded pieces was going past what they could afford, so that's why they made these cardboard instead of plastic. But if they'd have made these plastic, it would have thrown for me the number a little bit higher because um, I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's a mixed match. You get nice wooden pieces for here. You have resin pieces for here, plastic trays, and then cardboard pillars. I don't know. It just kind of seemed like they either one ran out of money or they just decided no, it wasn't worth the trouble to make the pillars.
I kind of worry too, like if this gets wet by accident, because everybody's, we play when I play board games, we have a drink, we're beer, bourbon, and games. I
Yeah,
love my bourbon.
that's right.
If I have a little bit too much and I spill some on here, is the game ruined?
Yeah.
Does the structural support of this just gone? And I mean, it's things like Everdale.
Yeah,
Everdale's a real good point. You comes with a cardboard tree, but you can buy an upgraded pack
that's
to
right.
get a wooden
Wooden
tree,
tree.
which would be great for this.
Yeah,
Make this keep this plastic, make this out of wood, whatever.
yeah,
There's different material that's a little stronger that I have a little more faith in. I guess is the best word for it.
exactly, exactly.
But overall, like I said, it looks beautiful. It's very pleasing to play. I loved throwing the color out. I loved the wooden tokens. I even think I saw some of the cardboard cutouts at Gencon. Those looked great too. They were very high quality cardboard. They're kind of thick like this is, which kind of got to have to for the structure. But
Yeah,
even that's not bad. So it's very pleasing to throw out and keeps you entertained looking at it. But compared to games like Meadow or Lizard Wizard, things like that, there's just a step above in quality. Like they put more
right,
time and effort into
right.
it.
And this, it looks like they went for quality on the upgrade, but I don't know, for some reason they just didn't apply that to the pillars. If they'd applied that to the pillars, I would have definitely risen my point to a 4. But did we give a score for this yet? What did we say?
A
3?
3 and a
3
3.5 for
right.
the upgraded version.
So, but yeah. But like Mike said, the quality of the things that are here are top notch. The wood pieces are thick, they're colorful, the plastic is good quality. Um, again, like we were saying, I don't know. I don't why they felt the need to include a resin piece where the wooden ones that are painted are beautiful. That would have been, in my opinion, an upgrade in itself. So,
Oh yeah.
but like I said, it is a very beautiful game. There's just like we said, a couple of things that we would have made better. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is game mechanics. Um, I don't. What do you think this? Give us a little bit of explanation about how the game works and what kind of score you give it.
Okay, well, I'll give you a quick overview of the mechanics of the game. So you have 3 actions, only one of them is mandatory. You can move, and you do that by moving anywhere on the floor you're on. So if I'm on the first floor, I can move anywhere. I can even stand on people's color. Um, but the only thing you can't do is you can't stand on where another player piece is. So if you know I'm here, I can't move my green guy on top of my red guy. So also, what you can do during that phase is you can also pick up these suites, which we'll get to in a sec, or you can pick up your own color if you want to try to fill up your spot. Second thing you can do that is mandatory is you throw color. How that works is you have a deck of 3 cards you draw at the beginning of the game, and you play one of those cards. There's 2 types of cards. There's the one like Chris is holding, that has a, star on it and then has 3 pieces of color, and there is another one, uh, like this one, that does not have the star and has just 3 pieces of color. Those are in reference to the board itself. If you have the one of the cards just 3 color on it, your model counts as one of those spots, and you drop your color tokens in the other 2. So if I was standing here, I would drop color here and here on the board, which you should be seeing on the screen now to kind of make a visual representation of it. If you have one like Chris had, your piece counts as the star, and you would drop color in these areas. Now you can do this. You can rotate it in any direction you need to be able to lay that color. You cannot lay color on top of color. So if there's red pieces in the way of the green player has to figure out how to kind of lay those out. Um, and that's why the move is so important, because you can kind of move around to make sure that you're in position to be able to use your cards. Once you're done with that card, you set it to the side and you draw another one. So you always have 3 in your hand. Now, when you are throwing color, there's chances that you're going to throw it and it's going to hit somebody. You cannot throw color on a color square. So again, if I am the green player, I can't throw color where it lands on a red color. But if there's a player in the way, I can throw it on them.
Yep.
If we are on the same floor and color hits that person, I automatically get a bonus point and I hand them my color chip. So I hand this green one to Chris, or this red one to Chris. He puts it in his green box. At the end of the game, I get 2 points for every one of my colors that is in somebody else's box. And that just represents the spirit of Holi, where you're throwing color on different people and things
Sure.
like that. Now, when you throw color on a different floor, if you throw it into a square that there is not a color below, it will fall through the floor. That's one of the real cool mechanics of this game, is things just kind of, if you don't have something below it to catch it, it just starts falling through. So that's another way that you can hit people. You can throw color into a spot and drop it on them from above, but you do not get the extra bonus point that you get with that. So how do I get to the other floors? Well, that's the final option that you have when you're playing this game. The final one of your actions. If you are surrounded by color on all 4 sides, you can move up a floor. So if you move into a spot that has color all around you, you're allowed to move up. Once you move up, though, you cannot move down. That's the important thing to remember. So make sure you're finished on that floor. So say there's only like, that's where kind of some strategy comes in. So if the bottom floor is kind of like partially covered in color, and you move up to the next floor and you start throwing color out on the second floor, a lot of it will drop down. The reason why throwing color on the top of the higher floors is better is because at the end of the game, for every color that you have on the first floor, it's worth 1 point. For every color you have on the second floor, it's worth 2 points. Every color you have on the third floor, it's worth 3 points.
Right.
We ran into an instance where I jumped up to the third floor, started throwing color in our game, and all my colors just started falling through because there was nothing under it to catch it.
Right.
So,
Well, let me ask this question. What if you have 3 cards
Mhm.
and for the life of you, you cannot turn the cards around to fit the 3 pieces of color? What do you do then?
That's a good question. You can take your cards, because you have a discard pile. You can flip your card over, lay it on top of your discard pile, and you can place one color anywhere on the floor you're on. Just one, though. Now, the thing is, you can't do that 2 turns in a row. So you have to have a turn of placing a single color and then another card that you played regularly, and then you can do another one where you place a single color. That way, you've always got something going on in the game. You can always do something.
Yep. What I liked about the strategy comes in. He might have talked about this already, but as you place your color down on the bottom floor and most of it is filled in, and you are in a position where you can move up to the second floor. You go to the second floor and you take the cards that you have and you start putting color down. If it sticks and doesn't fall through, then you have just gotten 2 points per color instead of one. So I found when one of the games we played, I was the first one to go up to the second floor, and before anyone else got to the second floor, I think I had two areas that were filled that didn't fall through. So you sort of kind of gotta figure out, okay, am I done on this floor? Move to the next floor to get more points. But you don't want to move to the floor above that too early, because if you do, then all your color will fall through, and then the next person that comes up will be able to get their color to stick. So yeah, it's really it's really a cool concept strategic wise. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's one other thing we didn't mention. These suites I mentioned earlier about walking around and picking up. When you pick those up, if you have more suites than other players, you get more points into the game with that. It's kind of a little catch up mechanic, which is kind of, and they are a limited number of suites on the board. But overall in this game, it flows really well together. It works. We didn't have too many instances where I don't think we had any instances where we couldn't do anything at all,
No.
which is some happens in some games. So we ended up giving this, I think, a 4. Is what we
Yes.
ended up
Yeah.
deciding on
We
this
all
game.
decided a four was perfect for this game. And in this game, as you can see, it's more of a festival kind of um, uh, way of looking at this game. It's you're throwing color, you're picking up sweets. There's not really any combat. It's more strategic, where you place your pieces, and at the end of the game, you win um, by having the most points. So it's kind of a refreshing kind of thing, instead of having constantly combating someone, or doing things like that. It's sort of a you know kind of game where you can just kind of relax. It's not one of those where, oh, I gotta beat this guy, or I gotta block him out, or I gotta hurt him or kill him or do anything like that. So I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, you're not competing against them. You're not really PvP and actively trying to mess the other person up
That's
because
right.
you really don't mess them up other than maybe taking the squares that they might need.
Yeah.
Um, you're more just trying to get your stuff out there and just kind of play the game. Which brings the last point we didn't talk about is the game ends when, for you, when you run out of your color pieces or you run out of cards.
Yeah.
Now, this game doesn't end for everybody, like a lot of games do. My turn is done. My game is done. So once I get run out of my stuff, I'm done. But Chris can finish playing, or player C can finish playing, and player D can finish playing. So
Right.
everybody has a chance to do something to complete all their stuff. You're not just sitting there with nothing.
Right. Right.
So that's kind of the game mechanics of the game. Like I said, we again, we give it a 4 because the game is really enjoyable. The rules aren't very complicated. Strategy, there's a lot of strategy to it because you got to play your stuff down right. That being said, how long is this game, Chris?
Well, the box says that it should take between 20 and 40 minutes, and we found that to be a perfect time frame. Um, I think we went through it about 30 minutes. So it's that time that they give on the box is pretty much spot on. What would you think?
Oh, I agree completely. Normally, when we play a game for the first time, we play it very slow because we're learning and we're figuring out the
Yeah.
mechanics and stuff. And
Yeah.
this game just worked. I mean, once you understood the bases and they gave you a quick turn card, the rules are basically on this card.
Yeah.
All of it, scoring, how to do everything. It's right here, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Once you get that down, uh, it's quick. It's really quick.
And like we said, when you learn the game, it was a 2 for us, which means, it takes no time at all to learn. And then once you've got once you've learned the mechanics and figure out how to play it, yeah, it snaps right, goes right in place. So it's really good.
And we're kind of dumb, so it may be a 1 for you.
Yeah. Yeah. We are definitely that. Okay, so everything being said so far, what's the replayability of this game? Can you sit on a game night and feel like every game you play is different. What do you say about that?
It's got a decent amount of replayability to it. One of the big things that makes it different is there is these cards that you can add. I can't remember the exact name of them off the top of my head, but you pull 3 of these cards out, and they add rules to the game. Like this one, Sweet Tooth, you gain 2 points for
They're,
every sweet that you pick up.
they're called
Rivalry
rivalry
cards.
cards. Yeah.
That's right. So it gives you like, and this one is -1 point for each color token from another player that you have. So if I throw a bunch of color on Chris, he loses a bunch of points. So it helps out. And there's a bunch of everyone. There's 21 different one of these.
Yeah.
So that adds some playability to the game. Your combination of cards you're going to get every time is going to be a little different from your deck.
Yep.
So that helps with it. More players you have, the more tight it is, the more kind of hard it is to throw your color. So that helps a lot. One big thing with the game is I hate to keep going back and harping on this, but getting the game itself out and putting these together feels like a daunting task to me. I know they're set up in other games, but I don't feel like it's a big deal. Like there's so much to set up in Lizard Wizard, a lot. When it comes to putting this board together, it worries me. I felt some, I don't know, anxiety or whatever, not like crippling, but some anxiety when I was putting this board together every time. I've put it together 3 times now, and every time I put it together, I'm afraid I'm gonna break it. That being said, if you have a place at your house that you can leave it put together, great. That helps to make it a lot easier, but
It does.
this has a huge footprint, and it fits nicely into the box when it's broken down, so it's kinda worth breaking it down, but, uh
Again, that goes back to the pillars being made of cardboard. If they were made of wood or plastic, I don't think that would be an issue. But because they're cardboard, it just feels like, when you put it together that you might damage it in some way. And then once you damage it, now you're have to use tape or whatever to try to keep it together. So
right, and you so it reminded me to replay it at all,
yeah,
which is why we settled on the 3 on this game. The game's a lot of fun, there's some decent variety to it. Every game is not gonna be the same. It's gonna be
yeah,
kinda the same as the mechanics, but, the rivalry cards add a lot of shakeup to that. But the getting it time to get it out versus actually playing it, um, that feels like a daunting task to me. Like I don't look forward to putting this together.
yeah,
Once it's together, I love it. Like I love to look at this. This is new. This is pretty cool. This is
yeah.
a um, I think when I first saw this, somebody said it was like the 4D chess off of a
Star Trek.
Big Bang Theory, or yeah, Star Trek.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you have anything else to add to that, or to kind of feel?
Oh yeah, it's three's a good number. Again, um, getting it out, and we discussed what kind of game. I think this is would be part of it. Uh, what kind of category of game would we make this in, or put this in? And it's we talked about it. It's sort of like, okay, you get Lizard Wizard out, and you've played it for 2 or 3 hours, and you're done. You put it away, and you're not really ready to go home yet. You want something to kind of light to play, to kind of come down from a hard game. You pull this out and play it. Takes 30 minutes to play. Once you're done, you're ready to go home. But it's one of those games where it's a filler where either you can play it before the main game that you want to play or after the main game. You could bring this game out and play it all night long if you wanted to, but I don't know. I think it's more kind of a game where you pull it out, play it a couple of times, and then move on to a little bit harder game.
You said it best, the filler game. A
Yeah,
filler game is exactly where I'd put that. Um, I don't know how many times you get done early. You're like, oh, well, I still have 30, 40 minutes to kill. Ain't just enough time to play 2 of these
yeah, yeah.
if you can get together.
That's right. Okay, so here's the big question: how much does this game cost, and can you get this game? For that answer, we're gonna turn it over to Mike.
At the time of this recording, this game is available Amazon, some local retailers will understand, and you can get it from the manufacturer directly. The base game that doesn't come with the player stuff, the wooden tokens, the resin. piece. The base game is $39.95. The deluxe game is $50. So it's $10 more. I highly recommend paying the extra $10 and getting the extra pieces.
Right.
As long as the deluxe version is available. I don't know how long it's going to be out there or how long you're going to be able to get it, but I do recommend if this is a game that you think you'll enjoy, I'd recommend getting the deluxe version.
Yep.
But yeah, you can get it right off Amazon right now. But again, we always recommend going to your local store and trying to purchase it there.
Right.
So keep those board game stores going.
You can always approach the owner and say, "Look, I've heard of a game called Holi. Is there any way you can get a hold of it?" And I've done that with a game store in my local area, and they've gotten on the computer and looked it up and said, "Yeah, yeah, sure, we can get a hold of that game," and they'll order it in for you. So we on this channel prefer that you do that, so that your local game stores are always either one, they may not know about all the new games because I don't know. I heard someone said there's over 5,000 new games that come out a year. So there may be games that they've never heard of that when they bring them into their store, they're a hot item. So you're helping them out by discovering new games, and you're helping them stay in business. So but yeah, I think that's a pretty good price, 39.95 for the base and
Oh yeah,
50 for the upgrade. Yeah.
especially everything you get. I mean, I know we keep complaining about the cardboard stuff, but it is thick cardboard. It may not be an issue, but
Yeah.
I worry about that in the long run. But for what you get, the player trays and everything like that, that's a decent price. I feel
It is.
like.
Yeah.
That being said, even at that price, would you recommend it?
Absolutely. I had a blast playing this game. Um, it's our job as game reviewers to dissect the game, to give you all the information that you may need uh, uh, to make an honest and uh, an honest purchase, to have the knowledge to know when you're going in what you're getting. So that's our job to kind of dissect that. But in the long run, with everything that you get and how the game plays, absolutely. I had a blast playing this game. It's simple, it's quick, it's beautiful. Sure, there are a couple of things that we would change, but overall, no. I really, really love playing this game, and it's a fun, challenging kind of game. How do you feel about
Oh,
it?
I agree completely. This is a great family game. Bring it on your family board game night. Like you said, it's a feel good filler game.
Yeah,
We need a palate cleanser.
yeah,
We just finished a game of Gloomhaven. We want to play a second game, but
that's
let's do
right.
something a little more lighthearted before we do that. Boom, holy,
That's right.
perfect, fits that niche.
Yeah,
Overall, I completely agree. It's just a great game. And like I said, I know we nitpicked a lot of little things, but that's just kind of what we're doing when we do this reviews.
that's right.
This is stuff that we've seen. Does that bother you enough to where you don't want to spend the $50 to go out and get it?
That's right.
If we can help one of you make a good decision, then we've done our job basically.
Right. But I think it all comes down to with the things that we nitpicked about. Is it a fun game? Is it a game that I will have fun playing? And in my opinion, I think you will. I really do think you'll have a great time playing this game.
Oh, for sure. And people who aren't board gamers that don't have a lot of experience can pick this game up quickly and play
Yeah.
it. And that's the good thing about it. That's why it's a very good family game. Well, that's about all the time we have for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we gave you some good information on Holy.
Mhm.
I think I said that right again.
Yep.
Again, the closing thoughts, a great game. Definitely recommend getting it, having it for your group. Definitely a good game for family. But thank you very much for joining us. As always, I'm your co-host Mike, and with me was Chris, and we'll see
See
ya.
ya.